When did you start taping?
What do you mean?
When did you hit play? When did you start recording?
What's the answer you want me to give you?
Before you left the room.
No.
Oh, you're lucky.
Why? Did you do something special?
I did a lot of special things.
Well, the last time you did that, you did some like... Oh,
You
shit.
regretted it?
No, that's when you did like the fucking finger. You like took the glass and you went like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, did I do it? Did I? Oh, no. And then you went like this. You're like... Yeah.
I don't know that anybody ever got the answer to that question.
I don't want the answer to that question because I had a drink out of that later. Hey everybody, it's Goody and Johnny Mo. We are back for episode 67. If you can believe it or not, we are actually in our second movie review within the last week. We just posted Superman, and we are now back with Fantastic Four.
So we did 2 reviews in 2 years, and now we've done 2 reviews in 2 weeks.
Yes,
We're
so
getting better.
we're getting better, folks. We're getting better, and we promise to keep this one a little bit shorter than the last one.
Yes.
We've had internal discussions behind closed doors.
Yes, I've been spanked.
well, let's keep it a little more PG.
Metaphysically. Metaphorically.
Yeah. So as always, we're going to get started with our drink of the night. So I'm going to let Johnny Mo start us off.
Well, so when we did the last review, we said we weren't going to do a shot for the next review because what would be the point? You know, it's only on special occasions. But lo and behold, this is a special occasion. We have to celebrate something very important.
Because we did a consecutive review?
No. Our last review...
Oh, God.
Was the first review that was actually longer than the movie we were reviewing. We've never done that before. And I consider that a feather in our cap.
I honestly don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
You know what? It's a compliment to who directed that movie.
James Gunn.
It's a compliment to James Gunn because one would expect that any Superman movie coming out would be at least 2.5 hours long. And if it was 2.5 hours long, we would have been under at 2 hours and 22 minutes, and we wouldn't be having this shot.
Well, I don't know if that's something we're supposed to be proud of.
It's not my fault that James Gunn over-edited his film.
Although we did say,
super tight film.
You have been saying for a while that at some point we were going to do a review longer than the film. We came close a couple times.
Yeah.
This one did it.
Yeah, we almost came close with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but that movie was very long. Because that's our longest review to date, I believe, even longer than Superman was.
So I know is we
deserve a shot.
We deserve a shot for this.
And I provided the shot
to Johnny
because
Mo.
if I
now you're just going to tell us what.
If I pulled out liquor out of Chris's liquor cabinet for this shot, he would protest.
No, it'd be fine.
I don't remember how to describe this, but it is the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve, which for some reason I thought was like a 12-year or a 14-year, but there's no mention of any year on this. But I'm assuming it's 12. But it's the rum barrel selection, selectively finished
sweet
in
and tropical
barrels that held Caribbean rum, sweet and tropical.
This was your Father's Day present.
Yes, this was a present from Chris on Father's Day, and we've been drinking it pretty. We like Glenlivet, but we never had this before, and it's actually very good. So we're going to have that. Very excited.
So to start off our episode, cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
All right, guys, grab your drinks and join us, please. All right, so Fantastic Four
drinks.
first steps. Oh Jesus!
Well, first I
you're gonna tell us what you're drinking?
No, I got to drink.
Why are we even cheersing?
I got to drink because I got to get the chaser done.
Oh my gosh!
Good. So I'm drinking a very dark, heavy stout that called Derby Booty. It comes from the Apex Brewery, which I believe is located upstate in Monroe County, a small brewery in Monroe, not Orange County. It's got a great can, too, which I'm not allowed to show. But it's got a great can with, like, roller derby.
I gave Johnny Mo some specific things tonight to not do.
I can't show the can. But the can has so you could Google the can. This is what Chris says. Like, don't tell them everything. Let them think, wow, that sounds interesting. Let me Google it. So Google Apex Brewery Derby Booty, and what you see is a can with, like, roller derby chicks on it with nice booties. It's pretty funny. And the can says, "We'll knock you down with a smile." And
you could do that.
This is
It's got some nice color.
it's a stout. This is
You could tell it's a stout.
this is
yeah.
8%. So
Ooh.
it's a lot
That's-
more than Guinness, but not quite in the region of Imperial
Yeah,
Stout.
yeah.
I feel like it's in the middle. Or maybe it's a
No, wait, no.
8%. Like some Imperial Stout can go up to like 11%.
You've had this or you have not had this?
I think I might have tried it when I was there, but we were with some people, and some people brought some home and drank half
And
of
you
them.
had- you had
and
some
they gave
left over.
they gave the rest leftovers to me, and I
Okay.
got them just recently, and I'm like, I'm drinking this today.
Nice.
What do you got?
I am drinking Killian's Irish Red.
George Killian's Irish Red,
Yep.
which I always thought was an Irish beer, but apparently it's not. It's an American beer
It's
in an Irish tradition.
I think it's brewed by Coors. If I'm
But
not
I mean,
mistaken.
it's like
It's an American.
it's not even like one of those brewed in Ireland, but we do our own version in the U.S. It's a completely U.S. based beer that has its roots and foundations in something in Ireland.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no,
I think
George
that's
Killian's
correct.
is an American beer. I didn't know that until we looked into it this past St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's
here.
right. This is from St. Patrick's Day. Still,
Yeah.
so.
Cheers.
Cheers to episode 67, guys. All right, now we can start discussing this. So, Fantastic
Oh
Four.
no, we can't. My shirt. I
Oh
gotta show
boy,
my
here
shirt.
we go.
So, this is literally my favorite superhero shirt.
It is one of your oldest superhero
It's one of
shirts.
my oldest superhero shirts. I've had this shirt for 25 to 30 years. I bought it when I was living in Malvern, and I think before I got married. So I would say 26
You've had that
years.
shirt since I've known you.
Yeah, and it's a great
Oh boy,
Silver Surfer.
He's getting up again.
Galactus shirt
I think you might even be out of frame.
that is ripped and torn and jagged and shaped, and it's a great shirt. I saw this at a store in Malvern. I said I must have it. I have never seen it anywhere else on anyone, and I wore it to death. And now it's very beat up. I literally only wear it to comic conventions. I don't even necessarily will wear it for a Fantastic Four movie review or to a Fantastic Four movie viewing. But
But you did for this.
if Silver Surfer and or Galactus are in the Fantastic Four movie or any movie, I'm wearing this shirt.
Did you wear this for Rise of the Silver Surfer?
Yes, I did. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, no, I did. No, I must have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I must have. I was going to say, yeah. And my wife wants to throw this shirt out so bad.
Oh yes.
She literally
Oh,
has
yes.
threatened me with throwing it out, burning it, donating
If she
it.
sees it out and you're away for a week, I would not be surprised
Oh,
if that's
no.
gone when you get back.
I literally, this morning, was going to bring this shirt in my car with me to work, so in case I was coming straight here to do the review, and I walked out without getting it, and it was folded on a table right by the front door. And I called up specifically and told my wife to get that shirt and go directly to the bedroom and put it, somewhere. I said, don't even think
Well, I'm so happy
about
you did
throwing
that.
it out. Because she said, she goes, how about I just throw it out? I said, if you throw it out, you will regret it. I said, it's going to cost you $5,000 too. There's a $5,000 penalty for that.
So
And if she doesn't know that, she knows that now when she watches.
she's not going to watch this thing. She's going to fall asleep to it when you turn it on to rewatch it a couple nights from now.
And this shirt is actually going to be in my will that I will be buried in this shirt.
Yeah, I know. Buried with that and the skull jacket.
Right. And if they don't do that, it will be in my will that all my comic books get donated to charity. So I can tell you right now,
You're getting buried in that
I
shirt.
hold the upper hand here.
You're getting buried in that shirt.
And you know what that charity is going to be? American Film Institute Division of Silent Movie Restoration,
There we go.
which is going to drive everybody
It'll
nuts.
be a little drop in the bucket.
Yep. There'll be some silent movie out there someday that says, restored through the funds and graces of Johnny Moe.
Thank God for that.
So, I think we're good.
Yeah, let's get started.
I gotta have another drink.
All right, do it.
This beer might actually be hard for me to finish
Beforehand.
before the episode is done.
It's a hard beer
because
right there.
it's thick.
So Fantastic Four First Steps is the fourth Fantastic Four film that we've had since 2005. There were two attempts back with the Jessica Alba. We had a Fantastic Four film, and then it was Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And then there was that terrible, terrible Fantastic Four film in, what was that, 2016, 2017, 2015,
Yeah.
whenever that was.
So
It was absolutely terrible.
Doctor Doom was in the first two movies, right?
He was in
all three, but he was
like one of the main
he was
characters.
the bad guy in the first Fantastic Four movie. Reprised
Correct.
his role in the second when they put in Silver Surfer and something that they called Galactus. It was
Right,
like a
the Cloud.
And then the other Fantastic Four movie also had Doctor Doom.
Yes.
And okay, so and those were not MCU. Those were all what, Sony?
No.
Fox.
Fox, I believe.
I think Fox. So now keep in mind, there actually is an even older Fantastic Four
Yes.
movie, I believe from the 80s.
Yes, and it was
That
awful.
also, I think, has Doctor Doom. That, oddly enough, that movie might have the best Doctor Doom to date, because the Doctor Dooms in the other three movies are absolutely horrible.
Well, we'll see what happens with the Doctor
they're
Doom
horrible.
going forward. So
Now,
listen, there are
Silver
going to
Surfer-
but guys, there are going to be spoilers to this.
Yeah, spoilers.
We know the movie just came out this past weekend, and we're recording this a couple of days after we saw it. But if you haven't seen it yet, just be aware we're going to be discussing a lot of spoilers.
Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, I felt like that Silver Surfer wasn't bad.
No,
They did an okay job with that
did.
Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
They totally cheesed out on Galactus. I hated how they handled Galactus. He
was a giant cloud.
He was just a giant nonsense cloud, and all you really got at one point was like a vague outline.
it was a silhouette.
Silhouette, blah blah, and that was literally all you got. And to me,
Yeah.
that was like a total waste. And in this movie, I feel like they did a lot. They did a lot better. Now, as much as Chris was looking forward to Superman,
Yeah.
I'm probably looking almost as much forward to the Fantastic Four review because one, I'm a huge fan of the Fantastic Four, but more so, Silver Surfer is my favorite superhero,
Yep.
bar none, and Galactus
got the
is
stature to prove it.
probably, I got to say, my second favorite villain because Doctor Doom is my favorite villain, but he's like those are
Right
by
there.
far the top two. I have very few statues. But of the 5 or 6 statues that I have, there's a fantastic, a Silver Surfer one, a little tiny one, and a big freaking giant Galactus statue. That's
Which are pretty like proportional to
big.
one another.
Yeah, they're actually supposed to be proportional, I believe, because I think they're both Bowens.
Yeah.
And I actually am the proud owner of a first appearance Silver Surfer and Galactus, Fantastic Four number 48 from I forget what year, 65 or 66 or whatever, but 5.5. Signed by Stan Lee and Joe Sinnott. Never been pressed. I gotta press that up to like a 6.5, because that's one of my favorite books in my collection. Plus I have a lot of other Silver Surfer books, but I won't get into that. But now, so before we get into the movie preview,
Oh, now we're talking about trailers now. Previews now.
you always got to talk about the trailer because the trailers I thought the trailers for the Fantastic Four movie were good. Like,
Oh, we definitely got you excited for the
they
movie.
definitely got me excited. I was very interested in the casting.
I thought the casting was great. To me, that was a great start when I heard who they were casting. All four. We were just talking about the cast
Yeah.
and looking them up beforehand because I was having trouble remembering some of their names. But I mean, listen, Pedro Pascal obviously has.
I think
he's a hot ticket
I
item
think
right
he's
now.
the number one headline person in the cast. Of all the
Yeah.
people in the cast, he's, I think, the most famous, that has done the most things.
Yep, I think he was. I thought he did a really great job of playing Reed Richards. I thought he was very analytical. I liked that about him.
Yeah, and he's got some superhero movie chops. He was, like we had mentioned.
Yeah, he played Maxwell
Lord. He
Lord.
was in Maxwell Lord in Wonder
although
Woman
he
1984.
you talk to him about it, he's not. It doesn't sound like he's too happy with that. But it is what it is.
He wasn't bad in that, though. He was.
I liked him. I thought the writing wasn't great,
Yeah.
but he wasn't bad.
But I felt
in
like
the role.
I felt like he brought a lot of enthusiasm to his role.
Oh,
He
yeah.
played it with a lot of, I don't know what I would call chutzpah.
Sure.
Like he embraced that role. As ridiculous and idiotic as it was in that ridiculous, idiotic movie, I felt like he brought himself to the role and did the best he could.
And I don't think he wouldn't do that for any role. Obviously,
And-
he's playing Joel right now
Yeah.
in The Last of Us.
Yeah, he's a good
Season
actor.
1 and
Like
2.
he's one of those guys that all of a sudden popped up and he's in everything.
Yeah.
Like
It started with Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
and then right after that, I mean, he started being in a bunch of different
he
stuff
was
left and right.
really good in
big
Game of
in
Thrones.
big franchises too.
I liked him in Game of
I
Thrones.
loved him in
I
Game of
liked his
Thrones.
character.
He
very
wasn't in it
much.
for too long, but man, when he was in it, when he was on screen,
he
was good.
Eyes
His
gouged
eyes.
out, his head crushed.
Oof.
But going into that, he
Great,
was good.
But that's actually one of like my favorite death scenes in all of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that was actually a really good battle scene.
So you got him. You got Vanessa.
him.
Vanessa Kirby's playing Sue Storm. Vanessa Kirby is, I'm going to say, she's not a newer actress. She's been out for a little bit, but the first thing I remember seeing her in was Mission Impossible Fallout, the one with Henry Cavill in it.
And you said that she was in 2 of them.
She was in 2. She was also in what is it? Reckoning, Final Reckoning.
So you know
I
what?
think she
It's
was in
funny.
Final Reckoning
Like,
Part
I'll be honest with you. Like chicks in Mission Impossible, and chicks in all
Like
the
James
Bourne
Bond
movies,
and-
and
yeah.
chicks in all the James Bond movies. You know,
1. It's like one and done.
oh, for a lot of those actresses, those roles, those characters just blend in and fade away in the background.
Yeah.
Like very few of them stand out where you say, "Oh yeah, I remember that." You know, like I mean, James Bond. You're going to talk about the chick from Doctor No. You're going to talk about
Halle Berry was in
Halle
it.
Berry. Like there's
Those were-
there's certain ones that are going to stand out.
Well, they had-
Ursula Andress from
They
Doctor No.
They had whatchamacallit? They had like some iconic
Yeah,
moments.
there are certain ones that are iconic, stand out, but for the most part, in my head, all the ones that don't stand out, they just kind of get lumped together in these like spy type movies.
Yeah.
And they all kind of play the same type of person.
But Vanessa Kirby was good. She kind of she plays a villain essentially. I mean,
she's a bad one.
She's she's like a weapons dealer. I think she was dealing like plutonium or something.
Okay.
Or they were gifting plutonium. I forget 100% what it was in
I'm gonna have
Fallout.
to just look up a couple clips of her because I don't see myself rewatching the Mission Impossible movies.
I don't think you need to. I
They're
think
like
you
one
just
number.
see
But
the,
I'd like to see. Oh, that was her. Okay.
Yeah, no, she was in that. And then 2 other up and coming. Well, still, I want to say up and coming, but the guy
Eben
Moss Bacharach.
something. Yeah, Eben
Right.
Eben Moss Bacharach,
Bacharach.
who I never knew from anything except The Bear.
He's in The Bear. He's in a couple other things,
Which is
and of
on
course, right now
Hulu?
I'm forgetting what it is. I want to say Hulu.
I think
The
Bear's
Bear,
on
which he's great in, and he's a chef.
Yes, so
Right.
if you don't know what The Bear is, that's like they're in that. I think it's in the 3rd season now on Hulu, and it's like a cooking show that takes place in Chicago. He's not the main character though, but he's like
He's in it.
He's in it. He's good, but he's good in it.
But this is where this is one of the funny things. I'll just
Yeah.
sidetrack to the trailer really quick. In one of the trailers, when the Thing, because he plays the Thing, he dips his finger in the sauce and then tastes it, and then gets like excited, like all right, like it's good. And it's just I personally think that was a nod to The Bear.
I think so too, and I'm pretty sure you're not the only one I've heard say that. I think I saw like comments like that.
Yeah,
online.
I'm pretty sure that he was.
and
That
I
was a nod
and I
to it.
and I think that was good.
And
then
then
you have Johnny Storm,
played by Joseph Quinn.
who I didn't really know who he was.
Another
but
younger
then
actor.
He's in a lot of things that I haven't seen.
Well, mainly the big thing that I was introduced to him with Stranger Things season 4, playing Eddie Munson, I believe.
Yeah, and I haven't watched Stranger Things yet.
That's still something you got to add to your list.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was great in that. Like, what a great introduction to Joseph Quinn. I thought he did a really nice job. I think he's been. We looked up his IMDb. He has been in a few other things, but nothing really as noteworthy as.
The only
As that. Oh, he was in Gladiator 2.
Yeah, that
He
was it. The only thing I
played one of
remember
the
of
emperors,
seeing-
which was new, which was
Yeah.
just came out
we
out
saw
more recently.
Gladiator too, and he played one of the 2
Emperors.
who were like they're little like
brothers?
little- I think they're brothers. They're a little freaky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I recognize him from that.
Yeah.
And one thing I just felt like I feel like he has like an odd looking face.
I think they put contacts in him. I think.
I'm talking about the whole thing, not just his eyes, but like his lips are very puffy. Like they're very like they're not tight. They're
Okay.
like they almost look like
He's got full lips.
yeah, they almost look like they're inflated. Like they look partially inflated.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's not plumping his lips.
Maybe he's got a Botox.
With
in
Botox.
there. Maybe who knows?
You know what? Possible. I shouldn't put it past anyone nowadays, but I'm going to say that he's probably not doing that, and maybe it was just how he looked after makeup.
Okay, and then we got
Julia Garner is playing Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer.
She's playing a specific version of Silver Surfer.
female Silver Surfer.
Shala
Shala Ball. Okay, so
who is a character in the comics?
in
for
the
people,
comics.
for the people that were pissed that they're doing a whole
They
gender swap.
They have to change things.
They're not doing a gender swap. There is an actual female Silver Surfer in the comics.
Yes, and now and I'm assuming in the comics it is probably Shala Bal who is the female
Yes.
Silver Surfer. But in the traditional, Silver Surfer that was around for decades, Shala Bal was Silver Surfer was Norrin Rad. And that's who, I'm pretty sure it was Norrin Rad.
And Rise and Silver Surfer, yes.
But Shala Bal is Norrin Rad's girlfriend on his home planet of Zen-La, who, he's always trying to get back to because, he's the tortured soul.
Which my guess is ultimately they're going to get to when eventually they come into this MCU.
Because lo and behold, this movie takes place on Earth, I want to say 828.
It was someone's birthday, wasn't it? Was it Jack Kirby? No, who created the Fantastic Four?
Stanley and Kirby.
Okay, so it's Kirby's birthday.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Kirby's birthday because they did something like
at the end.
Something at the end, like a tribute to him or something. And I'm pretty sure his birthday was 8/26.
Right.
So
this,
or whatever the
so
Earth was.
It's funny when you talk about this. I think most people think the MCU is
Everything.
one universe,
Right?
One cinematic universe. But the reality is that within that cinematic universe, that's just one universe in a multiverse.
Yes.
And this Fantastic Four takes place on a different Earth in a different alternate reality within the multiverse that our MCU resides in.
Yeah, well, similar to Deadpool. The Deadpool and Wolverine movie establishes that as well.
Right. And that's something that, a lot of people will sit there and say, well, where are the Avengers? It's like, no. This is in a different Earth. So then it's not part of what... Well, it is and it isn't.
Well, this leads into the trailers because the trailers themselves, when the first trailer aired, the time frame and everything that they were setting up in the trailer really looked older. It looked like much older.
It looks like it takes place in the 60s.
I would even say the 50s.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, like 60s. I'm thinking like
you could go with 50s. Okay. I would say late 50s, early 60s.
So okay.
Before you start getting into the hippie era.
All right, I would think so. I mean, to me, that's just what it seemed like. It just seemed like a happy time for people. I
want to say like wholesome, simplistic.
Yes.
Pre all sorts of crazy politic nonsense. Pre hippies.
It was just interesting, and it's like everyone
looked like a Norman Rockwell painting.
Everyone, yes. I thought that was like a living version of like a Norman Rockwell painting. I think that really sums it up really well. It was a futuristic past, if I could kind of like put a spin to it.
And what going into this movie, you already know about the bridge of the Fantastic Four coming into our standard MCU universe, because at the end of Thunderbolts, that was a good end credit. End credit scene. What do you call that? Easter egg at the end.
Yeah, this teaser, whatever they have.
Basically has like some spaceship coming through a wormhole into our universe. And that they even then they know it's. I'm pretty sure they even say like it's coming from another reality.
They're saying, I don't know if it was like a temporal. They didn't say temporal distortion. They said I thought they said wormhole.
Right, or maybe they even said interdimensional. I forget.
Yeah, something like that.
But like they made it sound like they knew it wasn't coming from another solar system in the galaxy, in our galaxy. It was coming from somewhere else. Yeah, and it was.
They zoom in on it.
It was the Fantastic Four ship.
Right, and it's the one that we see in the trailer. And this is the movie Thunderbolts came out way after we saw those initial trailers, so we know what the ship looked like.
Right,
and I think it even has the 4 logo on the ship.
And the people watching that don't know what that ship is. So there is no Fantastic Four in this. I feel like there is no Fantastic Four in this reality.
No, I don't think so.
Either now or 40 years ago. Or
Well, because
50 years ago.
this leads back into the trailer where you're looking at the trailer and you're like, okay, this is obviously taking place in the past. How are they doing that? Because no one has ever heard of these before.
Yeah.
And from the time Iron Man comes around, there's no talk of something as incredible as 4 superheroes in the 1950s
Right.
in the middle of New York City,
Right.
living in a huge Baxter Tower. So,
And
none of that is taking place at this point in time.
And I think what was funny is when going into this current movie, we know that they're fighting Galactus, they're fighting a big guy, and I'm like, you know what? Not for nothing. I'm like, I think they lose.
Well,
and either
Yeah.
Galactus destroyed their universe or destroyed their planet or solar system, whatever, and they had to escape. And they had, their planet is gone, and they had to escape to another reality to live on, and that's why they came to us.
I'll tell you. Not only was that was my assessment from watching those 2 trailers, that they have their son Franklin. Like you could tell, at some point Franklin is born.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought was when Galactus shows up and you see that huge silhouette of him in you see the shadow outline hovering over the city,
Over over Manhattan skyline. Yep.
There was at one point I'm thinking to myself, well, if he gets there, they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was, they're gonna destroy the planet, or he's gonna destroy the planet, and they're gonna fail. And this movie is gonna basically start off this whole phase where they lose.
They lose.
So,
at the end of the movie, they lose.
And their only way of surviving is saving their son. And I figured to save their son Franklin, they were going to leave.
Right, which is kind of funny because one of the scenes that's in the preview is like the people asking the Fantastic Four, are we safe?
Yes.
And Reed Richards says, I don't know.
I don't know.
And I always say no. The answer is no. You're not safe. You may not know it yet, but the answer is no. Pretty sure you're all going to die.
It was. And to me, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we'll get into the movie a little bit more, but I think that would have been the better ending.
It would have been a very bold ending. That would have been,
because to me that sets up the danger, right? Like, again, this is a little sidestep from the film, but like that sets up the danger of them arriving in our universe, thinking they're safe.
Yeah. On the heels of disaster.
Right. On the heels of disaster, they're coming into this Earth, this universe, only to find out that no one's heard of Galactus yet.
Right. Because
then,
if anybody could wipe out the planet,
it
would be Galactus. Why? Because he's done it 100,000 times in the past to 100,000 other planets.
And here they come in, and all of a sudden, a new herald is going to come, and that would be Norrin Radd.
Right.
The MCU Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
So to me, like,
it is my expectation that Galactus does exist.
Yes.
In our MCU, and will have a Norrin Radd herald.
Yes, and that is my guess as well. So again, you probably could have saved that for later.
And that will be very exciting.
And that to me was my initial thoughts going into this. So now, having said that,
who is the guy who plays Galactus?
Ralph
Ineson?
Yeah, he's been in quite a few things.
Okay, and he was the name I didn't recollect at all. And then we also have another little side character that's almost like a love interest for the Thing. I don't know if she's a teacher.
Leon.
Natasha Lyon, Lyonne.
Yeah, I think it's Leon.
And in the comic books and in most of the movies, the love interest for Ben Grimm has always been Alicia Masters, and I'm pretty sure that's not her name. She's somebody completely different. And I think she's Jewish, to be honest with you. I feel like...
Was that a synagogue?
I feel like...
That she was...
Like, he originally saw her at a school, which may have been a Jewish school, I don't know, but when he...
That was a religious school.
Okay, it might have been a Jewish religious school because
I couldn't tell which one it was.
I was pretty sure there was like a Star of David or some sort of religious symbols, traditional Jewish religious symbols, where he goes to meet her, where she goes like after school.
Okay.
I don't know if it's some sort of charity or whatever.
Well, even at one point when like Galactus was coming, they said spending time with your loved ones. So there were people at that. I'm guessing whether it's synagogue or church was there, and then he shows up. to see her.
And I like her. I like her as an actress. I feel like
she's good.
she brings a lot of, I want to say, like
Gravitas.
spunk. You know, like
Yeah.
she's spunky. You know, she's you know, you reminded me that she was in American Pie, and I completely forgot about
As soon as I saw her, I knew it was her, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's Natasha Lyonne from American Pie."
And
But
I
also being
remember her
in
from Orange is the New Black.
she had a big role in that.
Yeah. And she's in a lot of, she shows up in a lot of other things too. And so I was like, oh, you know, like I'm glad that was like a familiar face because I like her. Now, whoever played Franken Richards, I don't know him. That's just a baby. That's just a little kid. But no clue.
Yeah, I don't think we have to know.
But I think that's all of the main characters except for the Mole Man. The Mole Man.
Oh, no, man. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so then we have the Mole Man, played by a great character actor who's done a lot of goofy movies. His last name is what?
Something
Hauser.
Hauser.
He's in Cobra Kai, playing like a real
He was in I, Tonya.
cornball. Yeah, he was in I, Tonya. Tonya. Yeah, he plays like the. He plays a nut job character in that.
Is he like her boyfriend or something?
No,
Doesn't he
he's
atta- he doesn't
not the
attack Nancy
boyfriend.
Kerrigan?
He's the friend of the boyfriend.
Okay.
You know he's really good in that movie because that's a really funny movie. And
No, I think he's really good.
What's
I think
funny
he's a
with
good
that
actor.
movie is that when you in the end credits they show actual footage of the real people, and when you see actual footage of the real person he's playing,
close to it.
yeah, it's really funny. But he plays a great Mole Man because the Mole Man is like this short, you know, stubby kind of, you know, little hermit type off-ball comic book character. And what's very interesting about the Mole Man is that is literally the first villain in the relaunch of Marvel in the 60s. Fantastic Four #1 is the Fantastic Four versus the Mole Man.
The cover of Fantastic Four #1,
Where like the big monsters coming out of the ground.
I love that they recreated that in the film.
They recreate that in the film.
And I thought that was really cool to see that in live action. Now, I mean, we've seen in some comic book films they will try to get a cover tribute in the film somewhere, like a little bit of an homage. But this one was almost like a direct, like shot for shot, like person for person, like where they were placed.
Yeah,
they did a really nice shot of that.
If you did a freeze frame of that and looked at it against the actual book. Now, oddly enough, me and Chris have actually held in our hands a copy of Fantastic Four #1 signed by Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Very low grade.
Very low grade, and for a brief period
and it
of
wasn't
time.
ours to keep. We bought it for investment purposes to sell.
Yep.
Along with our
A few other films.
along with
other comics.
Along with our third, partner in eBay.
Good old Matt.
In Matthew Richards in our little eBay.
Matt
We
gets a
have
shout
little
out tonight.
eBay venture. Matthew Richards, friends and family of Goody and Johnny Mo. 1/3 of CJM Collectibles, which hasn't sold a comic book in longer than
Longer than our reviews.
the longest gap in our reviews.
But seeing that I thought was pretty cool. The whole underground.
We're gonna be jumping all over the place with this review because it's hard to keep it linearly. But I think
Because that's an
the Mole
underground,
Man lives in Subterranea, and that's actually in the comic books. Like there's an underground Mole Man domain.
But the Fantastic Four go there. Sue Storm actually is like an ambassador.
Yes,
Almost.
right. Because at the end of the day, even in the comic books, the Mole Man is not an evil person. He's
No, and you don't.
he's almost like a tragic type character that you almost feel sorry for, and that's what and he's probably misunderstood, and so you feel like they beat him, but they don't want to kill him or imprison him. They want to form some sort of diplomatic relationship.
Yes.
And almost consider Subterranea to be like its own independent nation, or whatever you want to call it. But one of the
sovereignty.
things I found a little odd with how they presented Subterranea is they come up with the conclusion at some point that we need to get all the New York is out of New York. So we're going to evacuate them to Subterranea. So
Oh, when
yeah.
when Galactus
Yeah.
arrives.
So we're jumping to the end, but we're going to go back to the beginning. But like, so because I want to knock out everything with the Mole Man at once, basically. It's like, so they just like load up, which should be thousands and thousands of buses, but you know.
Oh.
But like,
Yeah.
but they load up a bunch of buses that apparently everybody that lives in New York City would be getting on, and the buses, you know,
Make their way down.
instead of going to like, you know, the Lincoln Tunnel, they go to some other tunnel that basically says "Welcome to Subterranea," and I'm like,
It's an entryway.
like I don't,
It's an off ramp.
Yeah, it's weird, you know. And they all go in, and when they're down there, like, you know, when Galactus is walking around, like the ceiling shaking, and it's like you know what? Not for nothing. Subterranea is
Would
not
be
the New
even.
York. It's not the New York subway system. It's a
It
lot.
should be beneath.
It's a lot
beneath
lower
that.
than that
Yeah.
because there is a New York subway system, and
Right,
it's
and
not
that's
like
not Subterranea.
Subterranea didn't have tunnels next door parallel to the subway tunnels.
Right.
It's far down. Like I feel like they don't really portray that they go down far enough, and at the end of the day, the ceiling wouldn't be shaking when Galactus is walking. Like
Yeah.
they would be much further down. So to me, that was a little bit of a stretch, but you know, that's one of those things you just accept and go on.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever. But it was, but I do like that they brought the Mole Man in later in the movie to be part of
Like a solution to help.
as opposed to just being mentioned in the beginning.
Like a mini villain.
Yeah, they
you
brought
know?
him back.
Yeah.
So one thing that they did in this movie, which I thought was kind of interesting, because at this point, when the Fantastic Four have been around for a couple of years, it's not an origin movie per se. You see some origin stuff in flashback, but at some point they start talking
But
about.
I thought they did that right.
No, I do.
Like, you know,
I
like
like
we've
that.
seen. It's like, listen, we've seen 2 versions already of the origin of the Fantastic Four in the 2005 film, and whenever that got awful, other Fantastic Four
The
film
problem
came out.
is when you do a full-on origin movie where the movie begins before they have powers, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time,
40 to
on the
50
origin.
minutes just doing that.
And it's like, you know what? At this point, when so many people know these characters and you've seen multiple iterations of their origin in other films, you can just, you know, you can get away with it this way.
And here's something
And
too.
I like that.
I like how they did this. I like how they kind of just started them off with the powers, and then they sprinkled in a little bit of an origin every now and then, where they did like a little bit of a flashback. You see,
Oh yeah,
you
not
see
even
Ben,
all at once.
you see Ben,
Different parts through the movie.
You
yeah.
see Ben without the
Rocks.
without the rocks and everything.
You have to see
and
him.
it's him and Reed. You know, talking, but before they go on their mission. So like that was pretty cool. It was great to see, and because you know what, Superman did the same thing. Superman's here.
Yes.
He's already got his powers.
Yes, he's already here.
We're skipping the destruction of Krypton. You know that already.
Yep.
And what does he do? He gives a little discussion in his little interview with Lois about the destruction of Krypton, how I got here, and it was within like 1 minute
Yeah.
of dialogue.
Yeah, very
So-
fast glossed over.
So to
You know,
me,
Superman the movie, you got to have the full on origin. You got to tell the whole story.
but
As you get further and further away, maybe not.
For what they're doing right now, I feel like that's probably a good way to go, because it's like some of these characters that that we have seen so many times before, we kind of know a little bit about their origin, at least the people that have seen it. And for the general audience who typically don't go to see these films, they can get a little bit of piece of it just from dialogue or a little flashback. We don't have to spend so much time
and they'll
on the
figure
origin.
it, and they'll get it.
And people will get it.
They'll get it.
So, and I think it's funny that both films did that.
Yes.
You know, because it's like, are we getting to the point now where we're not going to harp so much on an origin
Yeah.
for some of these more known characters?
You know, in all honesty, like when you say like you like that both films did it, in many respects, I don't consider the Fantastic Four movie like a reboot of the MCU
No, it's not.
because Superman is,
Correct.
but Fantastic Four is not. But that being said, Fantastic Four is a milestone movie in the MCU because, you know, if you told me, when did Iron Man come out?
2008.
2008. How many years ago was that? 17 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. If you told me in 2008
It's going to take
there's an
17
Iron
years.
Man movie coming out, they're going to do a whole MCU. But guess what? They're not going to get to the Fantastic Four for another 17 years. And you would say,
Get the hell out of here.
are you freaking kidding me?
The first family.
You know, the Fantastic Four is the first family of Marvel. It's
It's a pillar.
In my opinion, Fantastic Four is on par with Spider-Man. They really are. And then to say even more so, 17 years for the Fantastic Four. Forget about when we're going to get to the mutants and the X-Men. That's going to be
We haven't even
20 plus.
We haven't even gotten there yet.
So you sit there and say, wait, we're going to have 20 years of MCU with no Fantastic Four and no X-Men, no mutants. What are we making? Avengers first for a long time. Avengers
That's
and a
the
lot of
focus.
Avengers side characters. And, we're going to get Spider-Man in as soon as we get the rights back. Okay. That's it. Yeah.
There's a lot of other
Yeah.
characters.
There's a lot. I mean, that's like doing a DC universe without Wonder Woman.
Right.
Like
She's one of the pillars. It's one of the pillars
Yeah.
of Marvel.
So I consider
listen,
this a
one of the-
milestone, almost like a revitalization of the brand.
Well, there's a couple of things to that. One,
in the
yes,
FF.
to me, this felt like a start of the new phase. As much as
Yes, right.
as much as
Brand,
Brave,
yeah, new
to me,
phase.
you had this year was almost like the new phase for Marvel, right? Like you had Captain America, Brave New World, okay, setting up the new Captain America, setting up a new team, so to speak, almost like a new Avengers team, and then you had Thunderbolts, which was supposed to be the new Avengers, technically, that was the actual name. That was like
Originally.
the hidden name of the movie was
okay.
New Avengers,
And
right?
and then they become the new Avengers at the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie, but they're not the new Avengers because there's already another Avengers team. That was the whole discussion back and forth in the post-credit scene that there's two teams that are trying to call themselves the Avengers. So how do you navigate around that?
Right.
And then of course the Fantastic Four ship comes. But anyway, those films to me seemed like they were trying to get back to a Marvel formula that worked for so many years.
Yeah.
And then you have this film that comes in. And this film has completely new characters. It has a brand new feel to it. And to me, this was very similar to what they did in that first phase of Marvel.
Well, you know what? I like how you said it has a brand new feel to it because it really, in terms of the style and the reality that this movie takes place in, it's very different from any of the MCU movies in the past. And
Yep.
it doesn't even remind me of the DC movies. It's like this very odd, like you said, late 50s, early 60s, very wholesome. Everything's
Listen,
very antiseptic
wholesome-
and clean.
There was a very nostalgia
Yeah.
feel to this that felt wholesome.
Yeah, everybody in the city is just walking around,
But everyone's
shaking hands.
everyone's it's almost like
Corny and hokey.
it's almost like a time that you can't believe.
Yeah,
like
but
you almost can't imagine that there was a time like this where people were so friendly and willing to help one another.
Right.
And the Fantastic Four just walk around as these people that are adored in the city.
Yeah.
They are revered. The Fantastic Four have already saved the city multiple times from all these different villains.
You know what? That's what they
did.
do.
They did a little montage.
Yeah, they show a
that.
montage of some of the things that they've done. And I like that too because it introduced, it just gave a little bit of screen time to some other characters. They
Do you
talk
know
about.
Red Ghost? No, do you know who that was supposed to be?
Yes.
John Malkovich.
John Malkovich. So they have a thing
They
about.
filmed it, but they cut it.
They had a thing about the Red Ghost and the Super Apes. And I think they show them fighting the Super Apes.
Yes.
But they don't show they mention the Red Ghost, but they don't show him. But that footage exists.
They filmed it.
That footage exists in the trailer.
There's a shot of him.
Yes, in one of the
In
trailers.
one of the trailers. So it exists. But
Yeah.
the director, Matt Shakman,
No clue. Decided to cut it.
they had to cut it.
That was odd though. You would have thought they would have just shown him for a second.
Well, if it's a montage of them taking him down,
Yeah.
what's another 15 seconds of
even
of
less.
doing that?
The
right?
whole montage didn't take that long. of
Right.
like they just showed like one thing of like the soup rape going this way, blah, blah, blah. Like it was really fast. And I'm like, why would they mention the Red Ghost and not show him?
But these
then,
to me were like villains where it was like it was hokey, it's like
Yeah.
this is like Silver Age
Well,
villains,
so
like
what they
this is kind
do
of this
is
kind of what
they
it felt
they
like.
actually do either introduce visually or verbally a lot of the original Silver Age villains that were
From the
first
books.
introduced in
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Which is why they have the Mole Man in there and they
Yeah.
show that. And to me, like when
but
they
they
do
give
that,
him a little bit more.
they flesh him out more
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of Subterranea. But the fact, but in the beginning, we didn't know that. In the beginning,
Right.
we just think he's a part of the montage, and you see like the cool cover from FF number 1,
Yeah.
and then that we thought that was going to be it, and it wasn't until later where he comes back.
Because they also mention the Mad Thinker at one point.
Yes,
They mention
and you know these villains a lot better than I
Yeah.
do. I'm not as familiar with
the
most
Mad
of these.
Thinker. First appeared. I forget what issue of FF, but it was
I mean, I know some of the main villains, but some of the
Mad
smaller
Thinker
ones.
and Red Ghost. Incidentally, I think Red Ghost and the Soup Rapes might have appeared in the same first issue as the Watcher, believe it or not. But Mad Thinker first appeared in FF, and then they mentioned Diablo,
Yes.
who first appeared in FF. I forget what issue, probably around issue 30. And then they mentioned the Wizard,
Yeah, they mentioned the Wizard.
who didn't first appear in Fantastic Four, but first appeared in the Human Torch's solo series.
in the Marvel Comics.
Strange Tales.
Oh, it's strange. Okay.
In where when one of the flagship series that Marvel put out, they gave the Human Torch his own series, along as also being in the FF. In Strange Tales, and in most issues, the Fantastic Four make cameos in it. Either one or all of them. But the Wizard first appeared in Strange Tales against the Human Torch. Who Wizard eventually becomes part of the Frightful Four with Sandman and Trapster, and then the fourth character is always rotating. And they also mention the Puppet Master,
Yes.
who first appeared in like FF number 8, and is actually the father of Alicia Masters, the Thing's girlfriend,
Okay.
in the comics. And then I think those are all the villains that they mentioned. But at the end of the movie, they actually show part of an episode of the Fantastic Four
Yeah, the
cartoon
cartoon.
that exists in that reality,
Yes.
which is really funny. Now, keep in mind, there are the Fantastic Four cartoon that they showed to me is very reminiscent of the actual Hanna-Barbera Fantastic Four cartoon from the 60s.
Yes.
Like it's very
That's what it seemed like.
corny, cheese, very
like Super Friends,
Hanna-Barbera type of animation.
Yes.
And they do show
The villain.
a couple of villains
Yes.
in that cartoon, and for the life of me, the only one I can remember is Dragon Man, who first appeared in Fantastic Four. Go figure.
No,
But I'm sure that when I watch it again, I'm gonna get all of them.
I thought that was like just really cool how they sprinkled some of that stuff in.
They name dropped,
Yeah.
which for a nostalgia guy like me, it's like, oh, you sit there and go, oh yeah, I know that one. Like, oh, who are they gonna mention next? And that's kind of cool. And they, you don't need a Fantastic Four movie where every single one of those villains they fight. You don't need but they had a long career, and they did this, that, and the other thing, and that's kind of cool. And that, to me, gives a proper respect. Someone did their homework. Someone knows who the Fantastic Four actually fought in their original comics. They said let's put that in there.
One of the things that I felt was strange for this world was that it felt like the Fantastic Four were so much more technologically advanced compared to the rest of the world.
Okay.
And I understand that
I have a problem. Yeah.
that Reed is extremely smart, like probably just as, if not smarter than Tony, right? He's smarter than Tony. Are we agreeing on that?
Overall, I believe yes.
Obviously,
I would say that there were maybe certain. I think in the aspects of robotics, Tony Stark is better.
more as like an engineer.
Yeah, there might be certain things that Tony Stark might be better than Reed Richards at, and vice versa. But
Yeah.
overall, I think Reed Richards is smarter.
The stuff that like Reed was putting together, the technology that these guys have, is light years ahead of what the rest of the world seems to have.
Yeah, it doesn't. To me,
It's like they have the technology, but they're not going to share it.
it was very odd.
Like they got the
because-
flying car, even the technology within their own apartment
No,
and the Baxter building.
They make it sound like 4 years prior was the first time mankind went into space. Like their journey into space.
I didn't think that.
That was the first time they went into space.
I think what they're saying. I think what they found.
Humanity.
They found an anomaly, and they went to go look at it. They went to go research it.
Yeah, but I don't feel like they went into space prior to that because this was like their.
Well, this would have been before the Apollo moon landing. If it was in the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah,
This would have been
But that's the
before
thing.
that.
Like I think in the comic book Fantastic Four #1, I think that is the first manned space flight.
Well, technically, that's before 1969, right? 1969
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the moon landing.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like I said, like prior to the Fantastic Four going up into space 4 years ago, like I don't think there was a lot of other trips into
Attempts.
space prior to that. I feel like that was the first time
But it would have been
man went
strange.
into space.
I don't remember seeing NASA in any NASA patches.
No, NASA. It might not have been NASA.
May not even exist.
But they made it sound like this was like, this was a big deal. And then, Reed Richards didn't take into account cosmic rays, and that's why there was an accident. But what are you going to do? It's the first time. But even if they did something before that, it wouldn't have been that much longer before that. Like it wouldn't have been, man, in this existence, people weren't going into space in the 30s. You know what I mean? Like it was
No.
So I think the issue I have is that 4 years later, what do they got? They can travel at light speed and go anywhere in the galaxy.
So okay, so my biggest
They
pet
got
peeve,
teleportation.
I have he creates teleportation even
Yeah.
though it's not stable. He creates
Yeah,
it.
like they're doing teleportation and they're traveling across the galaxy at light speed.
What
No. More than light speed. They're going in like hyperspace.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, the nearest star is like 3 light years away, something stupid like that. If you're going at light speed, it takes it 3 years to get there, 3 years to come back.
So they're
Going through hyperspace.
and the only reason why so the Fantastic Four figure out that they have to travel to where they track the Silver Surfer.
Right.
They track the signal all the way back to where Galactus is currently.
Right.
And they basically found a pattern of planets that had been disappearing. And there was one current location that they thought that Galactus might be, because they want to go and speak to him before the Herald comes down, the Silver Surfer goes through the whole thing that your world's going to end. Spend the time with your loved ones, yada yada yada. So they all decide to go back up into space, and they have this technology where they can create this wormhole
Yeah.
and travel through, which I guess technically that's how you would travel in space. Like you're not going to travel at hyperspeed or light speed. You were going to create wormholes.
You're going through wormholes. Right, okay.
Because you're trying to bend space. So they do that successfully, which to me is amazing.
Is very, very, very advanced.
Yes. And to me it's more
More
advanced
so than I would expect.
than the technology that they have at the time. But we're gonna let that go.
Right.
So they end up finding Galactus. They find the planet, and it's basically imploding because he is basically consuming it all.
Consuming it.
He's in some type of, I don't want to say warship because that's probably not right, but he's in something that is helping to consume the planet.
Yes.
And they end up.
I think he's in a ship all the time where he's got
consuming.
something else that the ship it has ways of consuming the energy, and it plugs right into him.
Yeah, into the resources, and it just it goes in him. Now, the ship is massive. Okay.
Yes.
And they figure out a way. They make their way onto the ship. Now, pretty cool. They have this great scene with they go into like this. It's almost like an auditorium or something like this. Just like a giant blank room, and it's dark as anything. And then Galactus's eyes light up. Mm-hmm. That was a cool shot.
And I like that they pretty much did the best job they could do to make this Galactus very much look like the Galactus in the comics. Because at the end of the day, that's what people wanted. People wanted a Galactus that
physically resembles,
physically resembles the Galactus that we've all known since the 60s.
which we have not gotten.
We haven't
in
gotten.
film.
And people want that because, Galactus is one of the big bads. And it's cool.
And
people love Galactus.
They
I
did,
love him.
and I thought that they did an incredible job with that.
Yeah.
Now, my only true issue with this ending is that they leave in a hurry because we got to get the hell out, because they basically want that's when Galactus tells them, "I'll leave Earth alone. You're going to give me your kid," and
they won't do it.
And they won't do it. And then Sue goes into labor.
Right.
So they got to get out. So they escape. They're in their ship. They're trying to get out. And now they have to, and then their warp engine that they connected to has been destroyed.
Yeah, so right. So at the so the thing that they use basically to go through the wormhole
Right.
has been destroyed.
Yes.
But they're still able to get back home.
Now, they, Reed does all this crazy calculation stuff
blah,
because
blah.
it's all about using the gravity of a black hole that's right near them.
Right, to slingshot them back to
Right.
Earth.
And this is like
And
this
they're
reminds
also
me reminds me so much of Interstellar. Like I'm thinking like
Yeah.
I'm watching this movie, I'm like, didn't they do this in Interstellar?
And also they're running out of fuel.
Yes.
So
like
not
they
only
need
that,
to they need to use the gravity from the black hole in order to create a wormhole.
Oh, is that what they did? They created a wormhole?
They basically used they had to get to a certain speed in order to enter a wormhole. And to do that, they used the slingshot.
Right. And to me, I felt like that was a little forced. I think they just would have been better off getting in there, getting back how they got there, instead of having a MacGyver a scenario.
They couldn't because the machine.
No, I know, but
destroyed.
it shouldn't have been destroyed.
Oh,
like
okay.
they should have just.
Well, then there's less conflict. You got to create conflict.
Yeah, but
But here's my biggest issue with it.
You're stuck on the other side of the universe. It shouldn't be that easy to do a couple calculations and get back.
Well, here's my whole thing. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, the closer they're getting to that black hole, the more time is going by on Earth. And at one point, they get extremely close to the black hole in order to fend off the Silver Surfer.
Well, when they do come back, it is a month later.
It should have been years later.
Yeah, but
they were
in
too
their time.
close.
They were only gone for a few hours.
No, how close they were for how long they were, and to pull off that slingshot maneuver, they should have been gone years.
Well, what happened was
they should have disappeared for years.
What happened was someone decided they wanted to do this, and then one of the scientific guys in the room said, "If they do that, it's really going to be years." And the guy said, "Well, that's too long.
Now,
we're just going to write it as a month." And that's the way it goes.
Now, I have not seen Neil deGrasse Tyson's review of this particular scene, but I am willing to bet he will have something to say about the physics of this maneuver. Oh. And I am waiting to hear if he's going to actually agree with what I'm saying.
But there's a lot of movies that have these types of
conveniences.
Without a doubt.
Listen, I know it's a stupid criticism.
Yeah.
But like to me, just after watching Interstellar, most recently, like it's like more time should have went by. Like it shouldn't have been so convenient that they come back and it's only like a month later. Like that's ridiculous. It should have been years. But you let it go.
The other there's a couple of scientific things I had a problem with, but another of the scientific things I had a problem with is when they start. Well, one, the fact that they figured out teleportation.
Yep.
Boom.
But he was already working on that.
Right, but you know what though? Like he's got a very small scale. He moved an egg.
Oh, an egg.
He moved an egg like 3 feet over.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo.
Okay, that's great. So it's like, but apparently, I don't know, he drained the entire New York State power grid to move an egg
almost creates
3
a
feet.
blackout.
So now he wants to move the entire planet to another solar system.
And everyone has to turn off their power at once.
Right, which makes us. Well, no, everybody's got to turn off their power every night.
To conserve energy.
To keep somehow that provides more energy. I don't know. I don't know how that works. It doesn't make sense to me. But the thing is like, okay, if moving an egg 3 feet takes out the New York State power grid, or even the New York City power grid, I don't care if
I assumed it was like
You
a city grid.
you then will never get enough energy, no matter what you do, to move the entire planet across the galaxy. Like these things, like conversion units. If
But not for
if you
nothing.
need 100, units of energy to do what Reed Richards did, you apply that conversion factor to move the Earth that distance.
But not for
It's
nothing.
off the scale.
Where are
You
you?
can't count that high.
Where?
It doesn't make sense.
Where are you displacing the Earth that it's going to have the same revolutions
Oh yeah.
and rotation around a star that it's going to match what it's currently doing?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're going to kill everybody.
Everybody's dead. So I mean, yeah, like one, you need like the exact scenario wherever you're going.
Right. And I don't know if that exists
Even if it does exist,
on an infinitesimal
Yeah.
chance.
even if it does exist, how do you find it? How do you look in the? How does he look in the galaxy and say, "Yes, that's the one we got to go to"? And now, how do you even program exactly
Your machine.
your machine to say, you know,
I want to go there.
we're gonna go there?
Well, apparently they figured out a way.
They figured out a way. So I was just like,
But from the start,
I'm like,
it should have been what they decided to do, which was teleport Galactus.
right, teleport Galactus.
Like, if you would have said that from the beginning,
Not for nothing.
I would have. I'm all on board with that. That makes much more sense. To teleport Earth, an entire planet, just I never saw that happening.
I can tell you right now, if I'm Galactus and I know that they're doing it, I'm gonna sit back and miss a meal because I want to see this thing be all foobarred. Like I can't wait to travel light speed to where they go and look at the ruins of their planet and go, really? Oh, this was worth missing a meal. Watching these dumbasses think this is gonna work. I'm telling you, that's what actually it would have made that's exactly what I would have done.
I'm very happy that didn't work.
You know what? Not for nothing. Like, yeah, you don't want that to work. Like, it can't possibly work. This
Well,
is
that's
such
what I
a
kept
bad
saying to
idea.
myself.
It's such a bad idea.
I said that over and over again. This can't work. This cannot work.
So, the other thing that I thought was one super duper convenient, and then once you accept that convenience, this still doesn't happen. Is they're getting these transmissions from space from Zenla,
Right.
from Shalabor's planet. Like, why? The transmissions are thanking Shalabor for sparing their planet.
Right.
Okay, and they're coming from across the galaxy to Earth,
And they just happen to
and
intercept them.
we're getting them. Like, one, why would you send that message? Who cares? You're gonna celebrate on the planet. You don't send messages out. You're not gonna broadcast it out into space. One, it's not gonna get to Earth. Two, okay, it does get. So they decide to do it, and it gets to Earth. Great. Now we're getting all these messages. They don't mean anything because they're all in some crazy language. The Human Torch hears the Silver Surfer say one phrase,
And he tries, and then he
and
deciphers
he
it.
realizes that I recognize that language. That's the language on the tapes, and
Record.
on the record, and he gets the translation of that one sentence from Shalabor, from the Silver Surfer, and he says,
He uses that as a
"Well,
key.
this is what he says." He goes, "I got the Rosetta Stone." You know what?
I'm going to translate
The
the whole
translation of one sentence is not
thing. Enough.
the Rosetta Stone. People, I'm not going to tell people what the Rosetta Stone is, but it's like this much verbiage, or really small, in 3 different languages, and they were able to use that to, like, you had 3 points, not just 2, and they had a lot of words. He's got one small sentence. That's like me going into the bodega, and I don't speak Spanish, and somebody says, "Hola, amigos, ¿qué pasa?" What does that mean? Hello, friends. What's up? Ooh, give me that. Just give me a couple of days.
You're not gonna decipher.
Give me a couple of days, and I will understand, break down Spanish, and be able to converse Spanish with somebody very easily. Like, no. So even if the Human Torch gets that sentence, what do you do with that information? You better send it off to the linguistics department to work on this night and day think tank people. Like, how is he the guy?
But he figured it out.
How is he the guy who figured it out? Like, was Johnny Storm a ridiculous super genius linguistics guy? I don't think so. I don't think so either. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't think 100 linguistics working a month on this would figure it out.
But again,
but he did in his spare time.
We understand that these are nitpicks.
Ridiculously convenient, though, because
there are some conveniences. And listen, but these are all fair points. Like, these aren't things that we're not trying to nitpick on anything, but it's conveniences that are interesting and that we're going to bring out and discuss.
There's suspension of disbelief,
yeah,
but there's levels of suspension of disbelief.
Yep.
There's acceptable, and then
you're
start getting into
you're
stretching, and then it gets to a point where you're like, you just got to be like, are you kidding me? All right, I'll accept it. But really, are you kidding me? Come on. Like, there's got to be a better way that would be just as interesting but would make more sense and would get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
I think they could have done that. Now, Galactus in the movie versus Galactus in the comic. Couple of differences. For some reason, I think a lot of people think Galactus is like a giant.
I did.
Like enormous, like, Godzilla size.
Bigger than that. I thought he was like almost like planet size.
Yeah,
like,
he's
I
not.
figured he was like really
He's
big.
like, like the size of maybe a 4-story building or 5 at most. Like, he's not that big. I'm a dingbat because I wanted to look it up in the comic books because if you go into the official handbook of the Marvel Universe,
it tells you.
It's going to tell you what his normal height
so
is.
he was pictured as almost not as tall as a skyscraper.
Yeah,
right? in the movie.
Yeah, like a skyscraper. He was looking way down upon the Statue of Liberty. Statue
Yes.
of Liberty is not 20 feet tall.
Yes.
Statue of Liberty is pretty tall. In the comic book, in my opinion, he is much more powerful. He is like the Invisible Girl would never be able to use her force field powers and move Galactus against his will. Maybe if he wasn't paying attention, he was off guard, and then she took him by surprise. She might have nudged him, but as soon as he turned around and said, "What are you doing?" she wouldn't be able to do anything.
So I enjoyed the final fight sequence.
No, I did too.
I think it was a combination of luck that the Fantastic Four
did what they did.
Were able to do what they did and push Galactus through the black hole.
Well, in all honesty, I think they didn't make Galactus as powerful as he is in the comic books because otherwise he would be unbeatable.
Well, is it that was done on purpose, or maybe he hasn't amassed that much power yet?
No, he's been around since the beginning of the universe.
Okay.
He's been around for a long time.
So that answers that.
No, he's absolutely
or maybe he
not
just
as powerful.
maybe he just completely underestimated his opponents.
No. What you got to realize is, in the comic books, they can't beat him.
Well, they don't really beat him. They kind of just
in the comic book, in the original Fantastic Four, issue 48, 49, 50, three-part, introduction of Silver Surfer Galactus. They can't beat him. The only way they make him leave. They force him to leave because
that's kind of what they did here.
No. But like
they They make his decision.
Yeah, they make him decide to leave.
Yeah.
And the way they do that is in the Marvel universe, in the Marvel Comics universe, there is an ultimate weapon called the Ultimate Nullifier that nothing in the universe can withstand against. The Ultimate Nullifier is a weapon that can defeat the Galactus. And in the comic books, the Watcher, who they didn't bring into the movie at all.
I was waiting for him to show up.
Yeah, I was too. The Watcher, who is supposed to watch and not interfere with things, does a little side, bends the rules a little bit, and I think accidentally lets Reed Richards know the location of the Ultimate Nullifier so he can go get it. And that's what he does. Reed Richards gets the Ultimate Nullifier and says, leave, or I'm taking you out.
Maybe that's something that they're going to end up bringing into when it crosses over into the MCU. Maybe they're saving that.
But it's silly to have that scenario. It's more exciting to have them beat him. But the way to beat him is to make him not nearly as powerful as he is in the comic book. But one thing I did like is that they do give him the same depth of history in the movie and the comic book, because in the comic book he is the last survivor of the previous universe, and he kind of gets absorbed into the Big Crunch, which is the opposite of the Big Bang. And then when the Big Bang occurs in our universe, he is expelled out, and he's alive, and he becomes Galactus, and he has to feed. So they, in the movie, they do say he's older. He predates the universe. Now, this is another funny thing. Apparently, Reed Richards gets some soil samples from where they at and can, do carbon dating on it and figure out that
how old
that this is older than the current universe. But I'm like, I don't know what samples are. The only way that works is if he gets Galactus samples, because Galactus is older than the universe. The ship he's on is not older than the universe.
But it's probably very old.
No, but like he made he made a ship. Like his DNA, his body, he's older than the universe.
Yeah.
But if he creates a ship, he's creating it out of the materials around him that are part of this universe. All these things are made.
Maybe it's like little skin particles
it's funny
got on the ground.
But I do like that they give they give Galactus that same type of history, that he is an ancient being from a previous universe running around. He's got a feed, and probably has been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, and I think, my hope is that they get into more history of it when he crosses into the MCU.
And I like the way he looked. I think you mentioned that before. I like the way Galactus looked.
I did too. I like the end fight scene. I like how the four of them came together. A little bit of a disappointment, and you and I had spoken about this before. The only one that I was truly disappointed with, loved Johnny Storm, loved The Thing. I even thought Invisible Woman had some great usage of her abilities.
I thought Invisible Woman was the strongest character in the movie.
100%.
I think she played a great part. She was like the emotional center.
Yep.
She brought so much depth and character and feeling to like the things that she did. Like she was the emotional core of the film.
There's a part in the film where basically the Fantastic Four come back from seeing Galactus and like, what happened? Well, we talked to Galactus. He's not going to budge. He asked for a price too high. Like, what was that price? Well, he wanted our son. And what's crazy to me is that all these people have the audacity to be like, well, give him your kid. And like they get pissed because like weeks go by, right? And like time goes by where like they are basically they're trying to raise their son in the Baxter Building, and like they're hated now. Like they go from most beloved characters and people on Earth to being hated.
You know what though? There is a certain rationale to the way they feel though.
No one would ever give up their child.
Yeah, but
that to me is what's crazy. Anyone who's ever had a child would know
it's hard.
You would never give them up.
Yeah, but
to save humanity, to save the planet.
To save the planet.
Okay, you have a kid. You're going to give them up?
If you don't, though, it's like you lose everything.
Or you figure out a way to stop the person.
Right.
Which is what they did. And they trusted each other on that. Right. And the one great scene with Sue is that Vanessa Kirby delivers this incredible speech where she says, you know what, I'm sick and tired of this. She goes outside the Baxter building where all these protesters are, and she brings their son. And she says, this is my son. And she introduces her son to the world. And she's basically telling all these people, we have always been a family. Like, we are going to figure this out. We are going to get through this together as a family, instead of like turning on one another, or really turning on them.
Right.
And it was a really good speech, and it was something that you would never see in like today's world. So in this world only, it's such an isolated feeling, harkening back to this like yesteryear, that she was able to convince them to stand down and to give them that chance.
You know what though? Like, I don't know. Is it completely opposite from like a Sophie's Choice type of scenario? You know, like okay, so say you're Sophie.
Well, it's like you have your kid.
You have two kids, and you can only carry one to safety. Do you stand there and all die because you can't carry two, or do you pick one and you save yourself in one, and you got to give up one, but you got to choose? Because not making a choice means you're all dead. You know what I mean? It's like it's a hard decision, but if you're in that scenario, I feel like she was forced. There are only two options. You know, in maybe in this movie,
but in this
like
movie
you said,
too,
the option is to find another option.
Well, that's just it. But that's in any scenario, I think. I feel like
Yeah.
it's just Galactus is giving you two options. Well, it's like, okay, well, you're only giving me two, but is there another door
Right.
I can go through?
Yeah, right.
And it's like they have to find that third door.
You know,
and so
that's a hard choice though. Sometimes,
and eventually they figure.
Sometimes for the greater good, you might have to make a unbelievably hard choice sacrifice that
I don't know any.
you will
parent that
never.
would do
It
that.
will never feel you. It will never feel good with you. But it's your job to make the right decision for the greater good, even if it kills you.
That's also your job to protect your kids. So I
Yeah.
don't see any parent ever doing that, and that's where that's where I found it absurd that like you had all these people out there that probably had children that are now telling Sue and Reed to give up their newborn son to an unstoppable force that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I understood the frustration and the decision and the weight of that decision and what that meant.
Well,
but to have all these people,
I like what she said. I think she explained it. She goes, "I will not give up my son to
Yes.
save this world, but I will not
let this world
die to save my son." Like she put it. She flipped it around. She's not, she's not settling for one or the other.
Right. She's like, I'm not sacrificing you to save my son, and I'm not going to sacrifice my son to save you.
Right.
Like, we're gonna
gonna figure it
as
out
a family. And that was it was a great speech. And ultimately they do figure out a way to basically, when their original plan fails to transfer the freaking
Right.
Earth goes to crap, they figure out, let's open up a black hole and send Galactus through it. And Sue gets this immense ability and power that we've never seen before. And basically, because he gets what's the kid's name? Franklin. Galactus gets a hold of Franklin, and then Sue's like, all right, I'm done with this. And then like Mama Bear comes out and just starts like pushing him back.
Well, you know what was funny about that whole scene was, they put Franklin Richards in the circle. And their plan is
Yes,
like,
to
okay.
do a bait and switch.
Yeah, the plan is when Galactus gets close, somebody distract him, and we're going to swap the baskets. We're gonna put a Cabbage Patch Kid.
They thought that's all it was gonna be.
I'm like, and basically what they're doing is they're doing like the shell game.
Yeah.
They're doing 3-card Monte, with the baby. They're like, that's not where it was. And I'm like, did they really like that's their plan? Like,
But
did they really think that was gonna work?
But it's amazing that. I'm guessing that they probably just had no idea that he could sense where he was, but they probably should have, knowing that when she was on the ship, when they met, he knew how powerful Franklin was.
Yes, and that's another thing with Franklin Richards. So in the comic book, when Franklin's a baby, I think he's just a kid, but as he gets a little older, he starts to exhibit some abilities. But at some point, like, it's known that he's going to grow up and be pretty powerful. but he's not going to be Galactus level powerful.
Now, these are comics from what you read when you were younger.
Yes.
Not current
Not
MCU.
current. Yeah, God knows what they've done in the last 20 years.
Whatever current Marvel Comics has done.
So I
we might
found
not
it
know.
very interesting that, the child of Reed Richards and Susan Storm would grow up to be something that powerful that they're making him out to be. Even Galactus is like, I basically want this guy so he can kill me or end my hunger.
Right.
Like,
So he could give it to him.
yeah, something like that. And it's like, I'm like, all right. I'm like, they're like, that makes the Franklin Richards in this movie that he's going to grow up to be ridiculously powerful. And in fact, being that powerful, that might even be a threat.
Well, I think that's what they're going to end up doing, and then bringing that into the MCU.
Yeah,
how that's going to tie in.
So that is something a little different. It's like if they made Franklin Richards more powerful and Galactus less powerful, or maybe they just bridge that gap a little.
So lo and behold, the Earth does not get eaten or destroyed, and
they
force Galactus out into
a
black
little
hole.
wormhole. Right?
Yeah, they force him into a wormhole that they create and kick him out.
Now, one of the things that Reed Richards says about that is like the whole goal of that plan really is to
basically delay.
Teleport Galactus to as far away as they can.
Yeah, he won't have a
without
ship.
his ship.
Without his ship.
So he'd never be able to get back. So it is kind of funny. In the comic books, they explain that Galactus has a ship that he goes from solar system to solar system, galaxy to galaxy. He doesn't need that ship to travel. He can travel on his own. But he doesn't want to waste the energy of himself doing the travel. He wants the ship to do the traveling for him.
Yeah.
He does it to save energy. But he can travel.
But that's where at some point in time, like, him
but
coming back.
I got a feeling that this Galactus maybe not be able to travel as well as the one in the comic book.
Well, the question is going to end up being, is this going to be the Galactus that will be in the MCU? Like, is he going to follow them through some type of wormhole where he will end up in the MCU?
Or do we have our own Galactus?
Or do we have our own Galactus here?
Because keep in mind, at the end of the day, Galactus...
I mean, if it's a parallel universe.
Yeah, because Galactus is eating planets all the time since the beginning of... Technically not since... In the comic books, he actually has like a long incubation period after the Big Bang. He doesn't emerge as Galactus until, hundreds of thousands of years.
Eons.
After, like civilizations are in existence.
Yeah.
And when Galactus first came out, he didn't need to feed as often as he did. As time went on, he needed to feed more often. But his base of operations is the entire universe. It's not just the Milky Way galaxy. He can
go anywhere.
So if he's in our current universe, he could be 1,000 galaxies away, and he's not really a threat yet because he hasn't gotten to this corner of the universe.
I think we'll end up seeing... I actually am starting to think more and more that this Galactus is going to be the one that comes into our MCU.
Oh, you think so? He's following them.
I'm starting to think he's going to follow them.
And leave Shallabal Silver Surfer behind?
No, I feel like she'll end up dying, and then Norrin Rad will take over.
I do like that the Silver Surfer rebelled against Galactus and kind of knocked him into the wormhole at the very end. Because that's kind of what Silver Surfer does in the comic.
Or maybe Norrin Rad will take over. Maybe Norrin Rad will save Shallabal and say, I'll be your herald.
Yeah.
And save her.
Yeah, it could be.
Aren't they like lovers in Marvel? Did you tell me like?
Yeah, no. Shallabal and Norrin Rad are lovers.
So to me, like
Norrin Rad becomes Silver Surfer.
So if Norrin Rad has the option to save her, he'll take over and become.
Oh yeah, because in the comic books, there's been quite a few Heralds of Galactus.
So there's options.
Yeah, no. I one thing I found interesting is that Johnny Storm being attracted to the Herald.
I like that.
There's a little bit of a connection to the comic books, because in the comic books, one of the Human Torch's girlfriends is this girl called Frankie Ray. She first appears in like Fantastic Four 160 or something like that. But in and this is a classic storyline. In Fantastic Four, like 243, 244, 245, somewhere in that region, in like mid 80s, maybe late, probably mid 80s. Galactus comes, and he's wants to eat the earth, blah blah blah. Frankie Ray actually develops some powers, and she becomes almost like a female Human Torch in some way. But they're still together.
Right.
Johnny Storm and Frankie Ray together, and Frankie Ray goes to Galactus and says, "Spare the Earth, I will become your new herald." And so in the comic books, Johnny Storm's girlfriend becomes a herald of Galactus.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. But it's interesting what they did with the heralds of Galactus in the comic books is that ultimately they went through all the the elemental signs.
Right.
The Silver Surfer was like water. The next herald was Gabriel, who was the air walker.
Air.
The next herald was Terax,
Earth.
who was Earth.
Yeah.
And then the next herald was Nova, who was fire.
Okay.
No, there was another one in there in between, Fire Lord, who was also fire. There was a Fire Lord in there. So they started to repeat. They got through the 4 elements, and they said, okay, 5th herald, Nova. We don't have any more elements, so we'll just start, she's fire again.
I mean, and
And there was more since then.
And at some point, I feel like I'm looking forward to seeing where the Fantastic Four go next. Like, are they going to have another solo film before coming into the MCU, or are we going to see that? Actually, no, they can't because the Doomsday they're filming now. So
Yes.
they're
Oh, yeah.
gonna be-
The movie ends. It says the Fantastic Four will appear
return.
again or return in Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
Because the end,
So the final scene.
the final scene is a couple years later.
5 years.
4
later?
years later?
4 years later. 4 or 5 years later.
3 or 4 years later, maybe 5.
And it's Sue and Franklin. Franklin's
Hanging out somewhere.
Franklin's a bit older. They're reading a story together.
Yep.
Sue leaves the room, and when she comes back,
Like, where's Franklin? What's going
Franklin's
on?
not on the couch. They go around their little stove, and when they pan around, Franklin is touching Doctor Doom's face because Doctor Doom
and you don't
has his mask off.
You see the back.
You see the back of Doom.
You see the front
You
of
see
Franklin
he's got
Richards
his
on like
cloak.
an angle, but it's Doctor Doom.
Doom's got the green
He's
cloak.
kneeling.
on. He's kneeling.
Yeah, he's kneeling
Yeah.
in front of Franklin Richards. So that's going to be interesting.
And apparently that was Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
He actually did that scene.
I hope that's in the credits. It should say Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr.
So that was him apparently.
Needless to say, the special thanks in the end credits was a really like 5-6 lines across of names.
Yeah.
I couldn't read them all,
Which was
because it
great.
came too fast. So that's always one of the things when I watch a movie at home, or if I can pause it, like I like to pause that screen and read all the special thanks.
There was a fun scene towards the beginning of the film when like you see Sue Storm kind of like acting as like an ambassador almost for either the U.S. or Earth or whatever. She was acting as some ambassador, and it's almost like she's in the UN.
Yeah.
And you end up seeing Latveria.
Yes, and
And
nobody's
there's
sitting
no
there.
one sitting
There's
there.
nobody sitting
There's no
there.
representative from Latveria.
Latveria.
So I was like, okay. I was like, that's pretty cool. That was a nice little nod.
Well, that's a little name. That's a little country drop.
Yeah, a little country
name,
drop
name
for
drop.
Doom, which at first I thought might have been like one of the only things we get from him. Other than I heard that he may have been in one of the after credit scenes before, like a month or two before this even aired. Like there was like rumors that Doom was going to be in the after credit scenes.
Oh, okay. You know what? I didn't hear that, but I'm glad I didn't.
You're glad you didn't.
Yeah, I was surprised.
The only thing I would have liked more, and what would have been a great cliffhanger, is if Doom disappeared with Franklin.
Oh.
If he would have taken him.
Yeah, well, you know what? It makes one wonder when in their storyline do they come to our universe? You know that? You don't know yet.
No.
You don't
We
know.
still don't know that. So like to me, like seeing that ship at the end of Thunderbolts was a kind of a shocker. And we don't know how we get to that point yet.
Right.
We're still not there.
Yeah.
So does Avengers Doomsday open with that scene?
I think so.
Right? Because
I think we're gonna get.
they're
it
gonna
all
have to.
together.
They're gonna have to get to the new MCU real
Yeah,
quick.
because is Latveria and Doctor Doom in the current MCU? I don't think so.
It hasn't been mentioned.
Unless they're pulling a Wakanda and they're hiding
They're hidden.
themselves.
Yeah.
That you don't know. So
But overall, I like this film.
one of the things that we talked about earlier, prior to this taping, is I think we both agreed that we found that the the representation of Mr. Fantastic's
Oh, we were talking about the abilities before.
was very underwhelming.
Very underwhelming.
I felt like his stretching ability wasn't really showcased that often, and when it was showcased, it wasn't that impressive.
I think
Galactus picked him up and stretched him like this, and that was like, oh my God, he's going to snap. And it's like, have you seen Mr. Fantastic in the comic books? He's like all over the place.
I think Ian Gruffudd from the first two Fantastic Four films even had better stretching abilities.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to be maybe as good as he is in the comic books, but he's so the difference between what he can do in the comic books and what he could do in this movie was enormous.
Well, it wasn't that the special effects were bad or anything like that. It was almost like it was just underutilized and just. Well, like it wasn't imaginative.
They didn't show it that often, and when they did show it, it wasn't very imaginative and it wasn't very impressive.
Yeah,
like he wasn't able to stretch that much.
I am hoping that when we see him in Doomsday, that changes. That Reed's abilities become.
Well, you know what? Maybe he gets better at it over time.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, that happened in the comic books. The Invisible Woman's abilities got progressed stronger and much more so over time. Because I think when she first came out, she might have only been able to turn invisible.
Right, which becomes useless after a while.
And it was only later that she was able to use force fields.
Yeah.
And as she got older, she was able to use force fields even better and better. Like she got better at it.
Yeah.
So one character that they introduced in the movie, which to me was a bold choice, was Herbie the Robot.
Herbie was cool.
I thought Herbie was good. Now, a lot of people don't know the history of Herbie the Robot, which is not that long, but Herbie the Robot first appeared in the Marvel comics, the Fantastic Four cartoon from, I want to say it's either the very late 70s. Yeah, no, from the late 70s. He first appeared in the cartoon in the 70s, late 70s-ish. And the only reason he appeared in the cartoon is Marvel got the okay to do a Fantastic Four cartoon. For some reason, they couldn't get the rights to the Human Torch, or there was either they couldn't get them, there was something holding it up, or there was a delay, and they just said, "Screw it, we're just going to do it. We're going to do a Fantastic Four cartoon without the Human Torch because the first 20 episodes are due, and we got to do something." So it was the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Girl, and Herbie the Robot, Herbie the Robot was a little corny in the cartoon, but it was a corny. It was
cute here.
It was a Saturday morning cartoon kid show.
Herbie here was kind of like the butler.
Yes, and he talked a lot in the cartoon. It was corny.
He didn't talk here though, right?
No, he didn't. In the comic book, he was introduced in the comic books after the cartoon ended in Fantastic Four 209 from either the very late 70s or the very early 80s, and they introduced Herbie the Robot in the comic books. It was created by Fantastic Four to do things. And then, I don't know how popular he was, but at some point, he became evil and they destroyed him.
I hope he doesn't talk in the future. I hope he stays
I liked how they did Herbie the Robot. And to me, that was a bold choice the same way that putting Krypto in Superman was a bold choice. You know what? Why not? Let's do it. The end. Now, you mentioned the character that you were surprised didn't show up was Uatu the Watcher. I didn't even think of that. To me, there was a character that I was very surprised they didn't show up for a little bit of a cameo. Because in the comic books, one of the supporting characters in the Fantastic Four comic over decades was their mailman. The Fantastic Four's mailman is this guy, Willie Lumpkin. And he delivers the mail to the Baxter building every day. And he's he doesn't have adventures with them. He's just,
Stan Lee, I believe, was that guy.
He's just there.
I believe Stan Lee was the cameo for that in the first two Fantastic Four films.
Oh, he probably played the mailman.
I think he played the mailman.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
So I was actually surprised they didn't, they didn't have to do much with it, but I was surprised they just didn't do that. And the one thing I didn't really see was like, you know how we had like the street signs in Superman and like, you know, like storefronts in Deadpool, the Feld's Bakery or something.
Yeah.
I saw, I'm going to say, I don't think I saw a single name drop of anything during the course of the movie.
Looking for stuff. I didn't see it. I probably would have to go see it again to really pay
But I
attention to
did
that.
like what they put at the end where they quoted Jack Kirby.
I thought
So
that was
to
great.
me, that was
Something there.
good.
So what'd you say overall?
I liked it. I was a little nervous about the Silver Surfer when we saw the previews, but I actually really enjoyed their version of the Silver Surfer. And I almost hope that we see her again.
I think we will.
You know, I do.
I think we will.
I thought I enjoyed that character.
Yeah.
And you know, I forgot about the whole rebelling against Galactus thing. So at the very end, where she shows up and
Gives him the final hit.
knocks Johnny Storm out of the way and knocks him in, I enjoyed that moment. I thought that was a very, very well done climactic moment because you do feel for her, and I think you had an emotional connection with that character.
Absolutely.
I thought she did a good job. Overall, I think I gave the movie. I think I gave it 3 stars, but not super duper solid. But I enjoyed it.
This is definitely the best Fantastic Four live action film that we've
Oh
had,
my God!
without question.
You know, I'll be honest
I
with
mean,
you.
like
I
I
do have to make a point to see the original Fantastic Four film from like I think it's from either late 70s or early 80s.
Oh,
I
you
think
can enjoy that. I'm not watching
you
that
know
again.
you got like you know that's like you know for completionist purposes.
Yes.
You know, it's like you know there's a checkbox there, and you don't want to check it off, but you got to check it off. I got to see that stupid movie. But yeah, but that movie is known to be absolutely horrible.
Which I'm not watching.
And I already know that the last Fantastic movie
Never seen
was
that
a
again.
disaster.
Nope.
And
The only one I
the
would watch
duo-
again is the 05 one. I like
the
the
first
05
one and the second one
They were
they
okay.
weren't bad.
Yeah.
They just weren't that good. They were a little corny. I really didn't like Jessica Alba as Invisible Woman. I thought she was too immature.
I had a crush on Jessica Alba.
I thought
so
the thing
I
was
didn't
too
mind seeing her.
jokey.
Oh, Chickless wasn't bad. I'll tell you what though, Chris Evans made a damn good Johnny Storm.
Evans was a good Human Torch.
He was
See,
good.
like in those movies, I think Chris Evans brought the best.
standout.
Was the standout character.
Agreed.
You know, and not for nothing, that probably wrote his ticket to Captain America.
I'll tell you, he was great.
You know, like 'cause
He was really good in those two.
a lot of
films.
people don't get to play 2 major characters in the same company. You know,
Yeah.
like
I think it was just good that it was
Yeah.
2 different, universes.
yeah. So I'm curious if there will be another Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, hands down, there
Gotta
will
be. It has to be.
But
Has to be.
in what regard?
Yes.
We don't know anything yet.
Right.
I mean, it's
Is
all
it-
going to be determined by what happens in Doomsday.
You know what? I feel like I feel like because you've now already introduced that the Fantastic Four are coming to our Earth.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know who's in the ship.
Oh, okay. So assuming the Fantastic Four are in that ship, then now they're in our MCU. I find that you know what
Are they going to stay here, or
They-
are they going to go back
they
to their
you know what
universe?
they could tell another story because that's what they did with Black Widow.
Yeah.
You know, Black Widow's dead, but they made
But the whole thing is,
another Black Widow movie that takes place in the past. You
but
could
if
do
we're literally picking up from where this movie leaves off, right?
Oh no, we're not. No, the Fantastic Four movie doesn't end
No.
where we're picking up at End of Thunderbolts.
Avengers Doomsday
Yes,
and the end credit scene,
of
Fantastic Four. So with Franklin and Doom, you have to explain how that
yes,
goes, because
Right.
you're not just going to pick up and it's sometime later and Doom is gone and they still have Franklin. Like, there's some interaction that happens
Yeah.
there, so that has
So-
to get explained.
but the next, I'm assuming that Avengers Doomsday is going to come out before the next Fantastic Four movie, or is that a bad assumption?
Yes. No, I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
looking.
Avengers Doomsday is 2027.
I'm looking forward to the introduction of the Fantastic Four into the MCU proper.
Me too. No, I'm looking forward to seeing how they get them in there
Yeah.
and what happens with that. I
Because
mean,
that's really what, like at the end
that's what
of the
everyone's
day,
waiting
you're talking about major new phases in the MCU.
Yes.
Okay.
this
Bringing in
is-
the Fantastic Four, that's a major thing.
Yeah.
When they finally bring in X-Men and the Mutants, that's going to be a major thing.
Yep.
I'm curious when the timeline is for the Mutants, because maybe they just say, you know what, we don't need that yet. We can do
No, they've attached a director.
to.
X-Men.
Oh, I didn't know that. When is that supposed to come out?
A few more years. But I mean, like they're starting to cast.
The one thing I think MCU people made a mistake with is that they abandoned the whole thing with Kang because of the issues going on with the actor. You know what?
But no, it wasn't just that. That was
recast
really.
Kang and keep going.
But honestly, like
People didn't
from
like
what
it.
I had read, people were not digging Kang even before they had problems with him. They were already talking about how to replace the big bad before they even let him go.
Wow.
I mean, that was what I had read about.
That's a shame.
That's what I read about
Because not
Feige.
for nothing, Kang is a great villain, and Kang is originally he's originally an Avengers villain.
But Kang wasn't someone. From what I had read, the feelings out there was that Kang was not being well received
Yeah.
by audiences as a new big bad. They didn't see the threat. Whereas someone like Galactus, you feel and see the threat.
Yeah.
Like a Thanos, you feel
Yeah.
and see the threat.
To me, Kang, I think in the comic books was always relatively boring because he is just a time traveling guy with some fancy technology, and he's not as interesting as he's like Galactus, Thanos, these other big.
Which is
guys.
why I think they were having a hard time building an entire phase around him. So I think that's why they kind of decided to pivot. And also, I think when all the stuff hit the fan with the actor, that just kind of solidified their decision.
Yeah. One quick sidebar on Galactus. There is a.
And then we're wrapping up.
Then we'll wrap it up. There's a great Galactus story that's a Marvel DC crossover where it's Galactus versus Darkseid.
Okay, yes.
And it's really, really good. It's drawn by John Byrne. I forget who wrote it. But it's like, at one point, Galactus is face to face with Darkseid. And Darkseid, what's his thing? The old
Omega beams.
Darkseid is like, I'm taking you out. And he shoots out the Omega beams and boom, boom, boom. And Galactus just kind of holds his hand up and stops it. And he's like, is that all you got? He's just like, I don't know who you are in your universe, but you're not gonna cut it in mine. Something like that. Like he just says like you may be the shit in your universe, but man, you got nothing on me.
Well, I don't think we'll ever see that on screen, unfortunately.
Because ultimately, always felt that Darkseid and Thanos were like,
Par.
like they could be
on the level.
On the level.
Yeah.
And granted, Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet is unbeatable, unless he defeats himself. But without the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos standing next to Galactus is going to take him out. And I think Darkseid would take out Thanos without the Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay.
I think Darkseid is stronger than
That's
Thanos.
fair.
But I love Galactus. Anyhow, I think we're good.
Yeah.
We are. I don't know what we're seeing next.
I don't know either, but we're gonna figure that out soon enough. There's a bunch of different movies that are coming out over the next month, so we'll get something in the can hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So hopefully it won't be too long before we see the next one.
Yeah.
We are still working on time, folks. I promise.
Yep. This has got to be at least half the time of Superman. At least half. We'll find out.
He has no idea.
We'll find out.
All right, guys. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Look at that. This is the most
That's
beer
true.
I've ever had in my glass at the end of an episode. So it's got to be a short episode.
Probably not. Thanks, folks. Take it easy, everyone. Good night. Are we doing a shot? We're not doing a shot on camera. We're
Yes,
just doing
we
a
are.
shot.
No, we're doing a shot on camera.
Why are we doing a shot on
This
camera?
is a special shot. We're celebrating something. You don't know what it is yet. It's a surprise. I brought a good.
But why do you?
I brought good stuff.
Wait, you didn't come. What bottle did you come in with?
You didn't see it.
You walked in with a McDonald's Happy Meal box. Tell me it was in the McDonald's Happy Meal
No,
box.
it was in my shopping bag with my beer.
So what'd you do with the Happy Meal?
That I ate. I ate that. I threw that out. I ate that on the way here.
So would you just bring the box in to use my garbage?
Yes. Because I didn't want to smell old barbecue sauce when I get in the car 3 hours from now.
God.